Current value, $561-203-5121. That's $561-203-5121, or visit tworld.com today.
Soccer in South Florida is all about the passion, the energy, and the pink smoke. Inter Miami Soccer has a new home. Introducing Pink Smoke, your weekly deep dive into all things Inter Miami. Every Wednesday at 6, we're talking messy magic, big goals, wild moments, and the latest from the pitch. So lace up, get loud, and join us for Pink Smoke.
When you see that pink smoke.
Wednesdays at 6, only on ESPN 106.3.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees in the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 20 national championships, including the 2024 Women's Swimming and Diving Championship and 2023 football, lacrosse, and men's swimming and diving titles. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest.
Introducing the 2025 Land Rover Discovery Sport. Designed for those who crave adventure, style, and performance. And now it's more accessible than ever with 3.9% APR for 60 months. For well-qualified buyers, that means payments as low as $1,837 a month per $1,000 financed. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach, located on Okeechobee Boulevard, or head over to LandRoverPalmBeach.com today for more information on how you can take home the 2025 Land Rover Discovery Sport.
Hey golf fans, Colin Russo here. Looking to improve your game? Flagstick Golf Performance, the ultimate indoor golf experience, is now open in Boynton Beach. With 3 indoor simulators and a state-of-the-art putting studio, Flagstick helps players at all levels up their game. Get lessons from experts, try the latest clubs, or just come up for a round in the simulators. You could track your stats and see real improvement. Flagstick is where serious golfers and beginners find their edge. Bring your friends or family and enjoy golf like never before. Visit flagstickgolfperformance.com to book your session.
Is your air or water flowing perfectly in your home? If the answer is no, EDS is yes. Theo here, and for me, EDS Air Conditioning and Plumbing is my go-to, and it should be yours too. EDS is Palm Beach County's trusted AC and plumbing expert. They'll make sure your air and water flow perfectly. EDS is a train comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. Go to edsisyes.com. That's edsisyes.com. When comfort matters, EDS is yes.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy!
Light him up, Colin!
Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, live from the TGL, the SoFi Center in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Russo with you, joined alongside me, Mike Rizzo. As always, Damian Perez helping us out, making sure we stay over the airwaves back at ESPN 106.3 at the City Place Studios. It's Russo and Rizzo for the next 2 hours on your radio dial or on the live stream at ESPN West Palm on Facebook, Twitter/X, and YouTube. Mike, how are you? What's going on?
Great, man. It is a beautiful day out here. I'll tell you what, it's a
hot.
beautiful partner. I was getting my suntan on out here at the beautiful SoFi Center beforehand, and we're spoiled right now because up north it is bone-jarring cold with inches of snow. Colin, we're in that weird vortex where it is just 80 degrees and beautiful, and I'm not complaining about it.
Can't complain. It's hot, but can't complain too much.
What do you mean? You're complaining.
Hot.
That's complaining.
It's a little hot.
Right?
It's a little hot.
You're over it?
No, I'm not over it. It's a little hot. I'm just making a note. It's a little hot. All right. Cool down a little bit. I wouldn't complain. But it's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Weird weekend because it is the weekend surrounded by festivities. It is kind of getting outward of the regular scheduled programming with some professional sports. And my conclusions from the weekend are as follows. If you want to motivate people, if you want to get people interested, what is a key to the castle? What is the key to making sure you develop interest, to get a good product, and to basically hit on all phases of making something entertaining? Patriotism. Patriotism is how you do it. utilize it. It is a tool. The American sports fan or the Canadian sports fan or the Swedish sports fan or the Finnish sports fan, they get into the defensive country, to the attack against country. It is the ultimate type of honor to represent your country in an event like a sports event where it is not necessarily personal. Nobody's getting hurt, but it's intense, it's fun, and that's what the NHL did over the weekend with their 4-nation sweepstakes that they got continuing on with the Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States who play tonight. USA has already clinched after the round robin, clinched their spot in the championship, which will be on Thursday. But just to give everybody a rundown, USA played Canada on Saturday night, peaked at 5.2 million viewers, 4.5 million averages. And for those who don't know about ratings, 4.5 million is the highest rated non-Stanley Cup final game in the NHL, and that's including playoffs, can't be the Stanley Cup final, since 2019. Blue Jackets, Bruins, Game 7. So ever since then, USA-Canada in a quote-unquote meaningless game during the 4 Nations on a Saturday in February was able to crack the code. When everybody's talking about what the NBA All-Star Game is doing right or doing wrong, I think you got to look across the park and give the NHL their props.
Yeah, agreed. And the Kachuk brothers were kicking some serious butt out there. Colin, you know it's a big deal when I had it on. I had the NHL on over the NBA. I grew up with the NBA. I grew up watching the NBA. It was my favorite league once upon a time. But I had the hockey on because I had to see what it looked like. I had to see what the Team USA was going to do against Canada. There were, people were telling me that the Canadians were booing the national anthem throughout these NHL games. I think it was Zaslow, Jonathan Zaslow, who we'll hear later on in the show today. Zaslow was telling us they're booing the anthem. I'm like, all right, I'm tuning into this. God, am I happy I tuned into it. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that after the NBA All-Star Game last night, NBA players were getting the question asked, hey, would you buy into something like this? And the two that I heard from, Victor Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo, they said absolutely. They've tried to motivate the NBA players with money. They try to motivate the NBA players with pride, with playing for the team. I agree with you. I think it is time we switch this in the NBA and bring the country pride into it as well. How fun were the Olympics? I had a lot of fun watching the basketball Olympics. Team USA coming back in, I believe, against Slovenia? No, Slovakia. Serbia. Sorry, Nikola Jokic. That was a lot of fun watching those games. I think it could bring that kind of atmosphere, and I'm all for it, Colin, because I'll tell you what, the garbage I watched last night in the NBA All-Star Game is more of the same.
So if you want to script how you're going to do it, let's give the NHL and talk about how they actually were able to put this together and how it's almost creating a perfect storm for the viewership. Let's think about this for a second. The NHL had Canada, Sweden, Finland, and the United States. The United States is going to sell because it's the United States. The people like watching the USA team. That's fun. Americans, people will ride behind that. Canada, of course, has its own set of viewers, especially within the NHL sphere, so you don't necessarily have to worry about them. The good news is the Sweden, Finland, and Canadian, all their matches, every non-USA match game throughout the last, 5 days that this has been going on, has been an OT game. Other than the one that was 2 hours ago where Canada clinched to go to the championship as well. So now it's going to be USA-Canada on Thursday. Now every other match was OT, so it's entertaining. And then you flip that, and every game, and USA hasn't lost yet. USA dominated Canada, and they dominated Finland. And then they got Sweden again tonight. So people are going to tune into the USA, and every non-USA match.
Yep.
It's entertaining.
And Colin, we've talked about this before with the soccer I understand it's just the All-Star game, whatever, the All-Star break. Make it the international break for NBA. Make this a season-long thing. People complain how long.
A season-long thing? What do you mean?
So time out. I understand that the NBA, and hear me out on this, because this is out there. I understand that the NBA will probably not want to get rid of games because it's money, it's for the arenas, it's for the teams. Make international break a thing. Make it a big deal over All-Star break, okay? Make that like where it maybe
how long?
Maybe that's the question. Do we want to go the whole season? Do we want to go half of the season? So obviously with soccer, how they do it, they go all year round. You have international break all year round.
That's not a realistic solution. The whole year?
Yeah.
That's not a realistic solution.
Wouldn't it be fun?
It'd be fun, but Mike, logistical.
Make a worldwide league.
You're making it way too complicated. The NHL just gave you a blueprint. Here's
but
a
I'm
blueprint.
saying, since it's so popular, why not capitalize on it? Make more of these games. People are complaining how long the NBA season is, Colin. Then let's bring the regular season down and somehow
leave them wanting more. Leave them what are you going to get? You can't give it an excess because then it's going to get boring. You got the reason the Olympics are fun is because it only happens once every 4 years.
But I think as a soccer fan, the international break is fun. The guys leave their clubs and they play for their teams. Like sometimes it's the big tournaments. Sometimes it's just friendlies. Like I think you could probably make a year-long league. I understand you have FIBA. I understand you have some of these other things that are already in place. Maybe you get with that and you make a season-long tournament and call it the international break and have it end during the All-Star break.
What would incentivize an NBA player to do a full season-long international thing around the NBA Finals?
Pride.
Around the
Pride. That's what the soccer players do it for. They want to play for their country. We're selling people.
Do that. They make too much money. Do that for a week.
So do the soccer players.
Do that for a week. Do that for a week. The soccer guys can play once a week, and then they play here. The NBA is a consistent season. They're on the road all the time.
Well, soccer plays, they play usually 2 times a week, depending on the Cubs, but I understand.
That's not a realistic solution. Make it a week or two, make a round robin, set up a tournament, and do it that way. That's the way to do it. The NHL just gave you a blueprint. The Four Nations has been such a success because it's not too big in scale. It's easy. It was in Montreal. It was in the TD Garden. It's a mixture of these different places throughout North America. People are traveling for it. There's a little bit of story to it. It's going to be USA Canada again on Thursday. That's going to do a great rating. Do it short. Keep it 2 weeks. You can expand it on either end. You don't have to get rid of any games. Make a tournament out of it. Establish rules. Establish a round robin format, and then make a championship. That's the way to do it. You want to do the 12-minute long games that the NBA just did? No. The NHL just gave you a very possible, very doable, and very replicable model. Utilize that. I think that the NBA would be silly not to see what the hockey is up. That is a 300% increase in actual viewership because of those matches. It is an unprecedented, and it's not even a great number because hockey is a regional sport, an unprecedented level of growth just for those matches. And I know the tariffs on Canada had something to do with it, the booing of the national anthem, and the players hating each other. They cared because it's easy to motivate a hockey player. But if you're going to motivate somebody, if you're going to make a good product, and you're going to get the public interested in it, best way to capitalize it is to utilize patriotism. Utilize love of country, need a defensive country. Utilize that, because that is why you can't replicate the Olympics every year, because then how are the Olympics going to be fun when there's an international break? How are you going to incentivize guys to play in the Olympics? Then FIBA's not going to like that, because FIBA wants the Olympics, because the Olympics does great for them. They could do an international league, an international season. That hurts them. They don't want to deal with that. So instead, just make it once a year, February. There's nothing going on. Get rid of all the festivities. Do that another time, and make a round-robin tournament.
I love it. I will rebuttal with FIFA does it with soccer. FIFA does it with soccer where there's international break all year round. I'm assuming FIBA could do something similar, but if the point is that these NBA players aren't going to get up for it, you might be onto something there. I just think that it'd be fun to, especially with the USA team, there'd be a lot of competition to get into that team. And for the guys that don't get into the team, they'll be able to get some rest. They'll be able to, they're always complaining about playing too much. Well, guess what? If you don't want to play, there's a really hungry guy behind you who's going to want to play for his country. But I understand. Maybe I am overthinking
it. It's defensive, like the 1 or 2 week format. That's everything you just said is in defense of that.
Maybe I am overthinking it, but I just know how fun it is watching the international break for soccer. It's a year-round thing. I think people would be bought into it. But if maybe you start out with the 2 week thing, and if they want to capitalize on it, maybe they look into something like that.
But it's not replicable, because imagine this: Jason Tatum goes to play in a USA regular season game against Puerto Rico in the middle of August in a regular season international break matchup and tears his ACL.
Well, that happens in soccer all the time.
Well, then what are the Celtics supposed to say? I mean, sure, the soccer teams might be okay with it, but the basketball players, there's probably a higher rate of serious injury when you play.
And we saw that, to your point, we saw with the World Baseball Classic, teams didn't want their pitchers to pitch in it. But I guess that's the difference. That's the fundamental difference.
And that was outside of the season. That was a month-long thing.
That's the fundamental difference between the sports. In soccer, these guys take pride in their country. They play. And if they get hurt, they're okay with it because they're playing for their country. And the team side, they're obviously fuming and mad as hell, but that's the compromise.
The team pays the contract. The team pays. It's not just about pride. The team pays the contract.
I understand
that. Like, wait, why are we paying this guy $65 million if he's going to go play Puerto Rico in a meaningless
listen,
game?
My defense is it works in soccer, and it's great. I think it could work in other sports as well.
I don't – start small. Because the NHL just gave you a perfect regular season model. It's an American league, too. How did the American league going to coincide? How are you not going to get you're going to have to get the European teams involved? How are you going to decide whether a guy plays for Germany who's a German professional player versus an NBA player from Germany? It's a whole.
They do that all the time.
Well,
they figure it out all the time
for the Olympic teams. But if the NBA guy, where are you going to have the games? Where are you going to have the games? You going to have them travel to Germany? You got to keep it in North America. It's an NBA. So how are you going to bring everybody over here? It doesn't make any sense. My point is, 2 weeks, you got the model. The model's set. The NHL it struck gold with this. Credit to them because that match on Thursday is going to the game on Thursday is going to be great. USA is not necessarily playing for a ton tonight, but it's going to be great. I mean, for me, I cracked the code. You figured it out.
Well, we could agree one thing. That you weren't a fan. I haven't talked to you about this. You weren't a fan of last night, right?
I didn't even watch it. No, I didn't even watch it.
I tuned in because I thought, it would be must talk about news day. And guess what, Colin? I was wrong. I'm happy Steph won in San Francisco. Outside of that, I couldn't care less, I guess.
I did make a difference to me, and it was not must-watch television. For me, there was nothing on the line. There was nothing at stake. And there was something on stake on Saturday night.
LeBron didn't even play, Colin.
So doesn't make a difference to me. Doesn't sell me. I saw the numbers in terms of the actual game time versus the pre-game stuff, the post-game stuff, the halftime stuff. All that stuff's a waste of time. I didn't even tune in.
Kevin Hart stole the show from Ernie Johnson for about 10 minutes. So
fine. I mean, if you want to run away with that,
did not
I'd rather
want to
watch
enjoy that.
A good game product. Good game product is important. I think the NHL nailed that. 888-760-3776. Is it time for other teams to start embodying what has worked for the NHL here with this Four Nations round-robin tournament format that they have put together during their All-Star break? 888-760-3776. Is it time for other leagues to follow suit in some capacity, utilizing patriotism? We take a timeout live from the TGL. It's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo with you, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
ESPN West Palm is highlighting the best performance of the week, presented by Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Every week, a different team will be featured across ESPN 106.3 and ESPN West Palm Play. The winning performance receives $500, courtesy of Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Do you know a team, player, or school with a killer performance? Nominate them by emailing highschool@espnwestpalm.com. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Go where the pros go.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. ESPN 106.3 is locked in on college basketball. Tonight, Monday Night Hoops gets serious as Duke heads to Virginia for an ACC showdown. The Blue Devils bring the flash, and the Cavaliers bring the grind. It's Duke and Virginia. Coverage begins at 7:30 right here on ESPN 106.3.
It's Truck Month with the Ford crew.
Sam, do you know what these trucks have in common?
They're all Ford trucks.
And
they're built Ford tough.
Also true, but specifically they're Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks in America for 48 years.
48 years? We should celebrate a month-long event.
Sam.
A truckload of value.
Sam.
Across the entire lineup of Ford trucks.
Sam.
That's called Truck Month already, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I knew it.
Based on 1977 to 2024 CY Industry reported total sales.
Imagine a bank that is always in your court, one that sees their customers as part of a team with a common goal to achieve your dreams. Well, imagine that. There is one. We're Amerant. We're ready to help you wherever you are in life, and just as importantly, wherever you want to go. Because at Amerant, we want you to live a life beyond what you could imagine. Amerant, official bank of the Miami Heat. Member FDIC.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Evan Cohen here. I'll get your day started on Unsportsmanlike with Canty and Michelle. And if that doesn't confuse you enough, Theo Dorsey will it too. Only on ESPN 1063.
Mike Rizzo here with the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Sound the alarm. The Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes with Andy Reid are mortal. The Chiefs lose Super Bowl 59 to the Philadelphia Eagles 40-22, and the Eagles denied the Chiefs the first ever three-peat in the common Super Bowl era. Patrick Mahomes got sacked 6 times, 11 quarterback hits for that Eagle defense as well. Jalen Hurts played lights out. He won Super Bowl 59 MVP, but the Eagles win the Super Bowl, denying the Chiefs of that elusive three-peat. This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Accelerate your career in sports with the program committed to developing top-notch executives and managers with a focus on the job placement for students and graduates. The FAU MBA in Sport Management Program.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Kick off your day with a win. Go to F45, downtown West Palm Beach, locations in Palm Beach Gardens and Wellington as well. F45 is great. It's the functional side of working out. You could go in and out, 45 minutes, hour-long class with 2 coaches on site, making sure you're doing things properly and really utilizing high-intensity heart rate exercises. Get your heart rate going, get you a little sweat. You like-minded fitness individuals in the room with you. And you can go, you can socialize before, socialize after. Bunch of events going on. If you want to train for something like High Rocks, F45 has you covered. $30 for your first 3 classes if you sign up today at the downtown location. Check them out. F45, downtown West Palm Beach on Instagram. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo with you, live from the TGL, the SoFi Center in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Hockey's cracked the code. Hockey has figured out how to motivate, how to create a product, and how to get people interested at the mid-season point, the mid-season break with the 4 nations format. And the flip side of things, across town, because it happened at the same time, the NBA on the flip side of things, tried their little 8-man, get drafted by the Inside the NBA crew, and come up with these little round-robin format on the same night. The whole thing, they tried to figure it out. And lo and behold, Mr. NBA himself, LeBron James, decides to take the night off. And this is after LeBron travels. This is after LeBron does a photo shoot with all the other players. This is after LeBron is embodying, doing the whole media tour, but doesn't want to suit up and play for 2 18-minute games because of foot discomfort. Whether he's hurt or not, fine. If you're hurt, don't show up. But if you aren't hurt and you want to be Mr. Media, then you're leaving a team at 7 players. I know these games mean nothing, so it doesn't really matter. But if you want to talk about setting an example, being a role model, because he is a role model to other NBA players, that's the example you're setting. Starts at the top.
Yeah, and he's still one of the big faces in the league. I think we could all agree on that. I try to defend LeBron whenever I can. I can't defend him here. I told you in the break, I cannot believe he didn't play. And with all of the stipulations heading into this All-Star game this year, it stinks. How do you fix it? And then arguably your biggest player in the league isn't going to play because he's got a foot boo-boo. And Colin, maybe the injury's more significant than I'm giving it credit for. I thought it was a really bad look, and a lot of people agree too. When you're as big as LeBron, and I understand LeBron knows how big he is, but when you're as big as LeBron, you got to understand that sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet. And Colin, I thought last night was one of those nights where you got to bite the bullet. And I know we're trying to get players to go all out in this. I know we're trying to get them to try. But God forbid, go out there and then get an alley-oop dunk and call it a day or something. Make a highlight and then that's it.
Hold on,
my ankle wasn't feeling great.
If the big problem was getting these guys to play, you'd rather him go out there and half-ass it comparatively to getting another player who will go in and play hard.
I just think it's important I thought it was important for him to play last night with everything going on with the All-Star game. being one of the faces of the NBA, I thought he could have gave it a go. It's that simple.
I agree. If you're going to play hard.
Go,
if you're not going to play hard, then don't play. That's the bottom line.
Maybe even like you dress, you go for the tip-off, you play a thing of defense, and you come out of the game, and after the game, be like, hey, guys, seriously, I'm dealing with this.
No.
I would have had more respect.
That would look terrible.
I don't think so.
That's just
he gave it a try.
That's just you trying to get an all-star spot. You utilize it, get the minute log, so you get the all-star to your name on the legacy board, and you skip town.
I think LeBron's. I understand.
Don't show up to the weekend, be media guy, but you can show up and do whatever you want to do. Let another player take your spot. If there are players that are snubbed year in and year out from that all-star team,
sure,
and whether they should be or not, and if you think it's a big deal or not, that's entirely up to you. But I'm sitting here thinking that, all right, if you're not going to play hard, or if you're hurt, then don't do it. But if you want to be Mr. NBA, and when the NBA is on life support with making sure this all-star weekend is somewhat watchable or edible in some sense to the modern consumer, then don't make this whole thing doing the media tour, going through, doing every photo shoot known to man just to watch. Play if you're healthy, but if you're not healthy, don't go.
And like I said, I don't know how...
You're setting a bad example.
I don't know how significant the ankle injury is.
Who are we to hypothesize? But the fact is, he took a spot and didn't play. At that point, dude, really? Really? What type of example? He is a role model to how NBA players should structure their lives and how they should structure what they care about and what they don't. When LeBron doesn't care in the regular season, therefore the other players don't care in the regular season. When LeBron doesn't care about All-Star Weekend, therefore the other players don't care about All-Star Weekend. He's a trendsetter, whether he likes it or not, and that's the example that you are setting with that. I can't imagine the NBA was too stoked. Now, one thing I'll say is the NBA definitely told him to go anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there was a conversation in some capacity saying LeBron's like, I'm not going to play in the game. I don't want to lingering injury, whatever it may be. The NBA says, well, we need you there regardless because you're a name and a face that attracts attention. So, therefore, it's a flawed system. But you want to prove that, hey, this is on life support. We need this to be good. Even if it was marginally better, you still got the same underlying problem. The top of the line doesn't care.
And maybe it is putting on the country uniform to fix the whole thing.
That's it. That's the bottom line. I am sold. There is no other way to fix it.
You put on the red, white, and blue, if you're a USA player, and you got some pride. I go back to how fun those Olympics were, man. I really had a lot of fun watching those Olympic basketball games. Colin, I dare to say, I had more fun. I had more fun watching those Olympic games than I've had at any point of the NBA regular season. Would you agree?
Yeah. Comparatively, yes.
Comparatively.
Yes.
Isn't that a joke, though?
No. It's the Olympics. I like the Olympics swimming.
It's
the Olympics.
I go back
4 years. The NBA regular season should not compete.
I go back to what I said in the first segment. The NBA was my league, man. And maybe it was because we had a great team growing up where I was from and we had LeBron and everything, but we were locked in every single game, life or death. It's not like that anymore, even with the great teams at the top. The Celtics don't care. Obviously, you want to have a good record. You want to be in position to have a nice seed heading into the playoffs. But it's not life or death anymore in every single game like it was maybe in years back. Maybe I am get off my lawn guy, but I had a tremendous amount of fun watching those Olympic games comparatively to an NBA game.
They've always been big. They've always been bigger than what the NBA has to offer comparatively. I know the NBA Finals tend to be a little stronger than the Olympics head-to-head, but as of the last 10, 15 years, the Olympics have been head and shoulders in terms of generating an interest comparatively. But, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, well, the proof's in the pudding. It is clear as day. Now the NBA looks bad every wasting second they have not trying to establish their own sense of the four nations like the NHL has. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's telling you outside of the league, hey, well, this is the way to do it. So you might as well tap in or continue to suffer more in your All-Star week. And every second, every year that they don't do that they do not acclimate that tournament style with the teams and the countries into their regular season or into their All-Star break, then it's just going to look worse.
Do you think Silver's going to have enough pride? Is he going to have it, or rather, is he going to be able to swallow his pride and go, hey, we didn't come up with this, but we're going to rock with it anyway? Do you think that the pride is going to get in the way of not doing it because the NHL did it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if Silver's that stubborn. I think he cares more about the product than he does.
I hope so.
I have a hard time thinking that Silver's pride and his stubbornness is gonna hurt them in that sense. But, hey, you tried that in-season tournament. Not a soul cared about it. I couldn't even tell you who won this past year. And it worked the first year around. Second year around, it didn't work. How about you get rid of it? And how about you establish a 2-week period midweek of the season where you do a round-robin format. Each team plays 4 or 5 games. Then you have a quarterfinal, semifinal, and a final Olympic style in the middle of the NBA season. Done. Easy. No problem. Do it. Get the teams involved. Get the countries involved. Make it a whole event. Change up the courts. Make it a cool little venues. Make it North America. And be done with it. And then the players hopefully will be interested. Make a big financial incentive contribution. You got to, scared money doesn't make money. So make $1 million bonus to whoever on the winning team. The whole thing. Do a one-on-one competition and have the winner get $5 million, whatever it may be. Do something like that to incentivize. Incentivize via patriotism or incentivize financially. The scared money doesn't make money, and that's the bottom line.
We tried to. Colin, by the way, the Milwaukee Bucks, I had to look. The Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Cup, and they incentivized them with $500,000.
Right.
So each player won $500,000. Partner, I was the one.
The in-season tournament, to me, it's who cares?
Dude,
get it involved with the country.
I tried getting involved early on that. I tried selling you and our producer, Christian Cat, on that in-season tournament. You guys laughed me off the air. Colin, I had no idea who won it either after that point. And it was the Bucks, $500K. These guys they're going balls to the wall for $500K. Fair play to them, man.
Hang the banner.
Right?
Colin,
would you hang the banner?
No. It's just stupid. So
waste of time?
If Adam Silver wants to keep trying these little gimmicks, guess what? You're trying to find the right formula when the right formula is now across the street at the NHL. Utilize the right formula. Get that right formula involved. That's the only way to do it. I want to loop in Damian Perez, our producer on this program, back at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Damian's a sports fan himself. Damian, your takeaway on how the NBA should handle this? Should they adopt something like the NHL? Because I think the NHL has struck gold. What is your perspective here on the All-Star Weekend festivities?
Good afternoon, guys. After watching the NHL, what is it, the Nations League?
4 nations.
The 4 nations. That's electric. The game against USA versus Canada, I believe it was on at the same time as the All-Star game, and I found myself watching the NHL game over the All-Star game. So I think it would be awesome for the NBA. It would be tricky logistic-wise, but I think it'd be a plus for the league in general.
You got the formula right there.
And how about in the USA-Canada game, the Kachuk brothers just throwing the gloves in the first couple of minutes?
3 fights, first 9 seconds. Boo our national anthem again. Booed again.
Right.
Booed again.
It's everything.
Prove something here.
It's everything. Like, I tuned into that hockey game, Colin. I think I got everything out of that game the first 10 minutes in the match.
And the match was, that game was not even that great. USA was pretty dominant all throughout, but it was the ambiance. It was electric, like Damian said. People were watching. There was an interest. It felt like a Stanley Cup environment. It felt like a Stanley Cup final environment, and therefore you get the most watched Stanley Cup game, non-Stanley Cup game in the NHL since 2019.
So I'm pleading ignorance a little bit. You mentioned this in the first segment. Canada and the U.S. are going to play again, Kyle.
Yes, they're playing the championship. It's on Thursday.
Wow.
So
that's like that. All of a sudden turns into must-see TV after the first roundabout. The Kachuk brothers going to be kicking some serious tail again.
There's your opportunity. There's your formula. You don't need guys to fight, but if you don't take notes from what the NHL has done here, then you are sleeping at the wheel. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063, 888-760-3776. 4 nations over the weekend. Were you tuning in? What was your reaction? Is it the right formula for other leagues to follow suit? Could you see something like this with the NFL? Probably not. All players are mostly American. Baseball. You have the World Baseball Classic. People got into that. Why? Because you have patriotism attached.
And I wonder, Kyle, with the pitchers, so maybe more pitchers will pitch that time, because as much as I wanted to do that soccer format, I think it is a realistic thing in American sports where they're not going to let the players play. So that was my
Edwin Diaz is the popular one.
Correct.
And he tore his knee up on a celebration.
And that was my gripe. Like, it was funny. I think I was still in Peoria at the time. Colin, I was upset we didn't win that thing. I was upset that the Japanese beat us. I wanted to win that thing. It was our country pride out there. And I said if we had 3 starting pitchers, I think we probably would be able to do it. But at the same time, it brings buzz to the league, and you talk about it. Manfred got his flowers after that, too. People were applauding Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, after a great thing like that. So I think that's why I asked you the question earlier, is Adam Silver going to be able to swallow his pride and just be like, all right, let's do it. You guys found the format. Let's do it. I hope he does. I really think he would be foolish not to do that.
And for me, I think that there's not much else to be said. There's not much else to be said about what to do from here, where to go from here. The argument was, how do we fix it? The argument is what the formula is. Well, there's your formula. Tact, patriotism. People want to fight for love of country. Like always, that is an underlying theme. I think people are more patriotic than they probably let on. Because once sports get involved, you're chanting USA pretty quickly. And they were doing that on Saturday, and they're likely going to do that tonight and Thursday with the Four Nations. We'll take a time out here. 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man!
Attention, South Florida! The PGA Tour champions and the Pro Football Hall of Fame are teaming up for a one-of-a-kind event, the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational. From March 31st to April 6th, the action takes over the old course at Broken Sound in Boca Raton, featuring Hall of Fame legends like Warren Sapp, Calvin Johnson, Andre Reed, Rondé Barber, Chris Carter, and more. Tickets are on sale now at JamesHardyInvitational.com. Don't miss your chance to be a part of the home of legends.
Yep.
As market dynamics change, the quality of service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver where others can't. Visit anchin.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or BradleyAir.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
It's time for baseball out here in West Palm Beach, because that's because spring training is just around the corner. Cacti Park in the Palm Beaches, it's the place to be. Go get your family together, your friends. Go get some food, grab a beer. Go watch some baseball over at Cacti Park. You can watch the Astros and Nationals take on teams like the Yankees, the Mets, Braves, Blue Jays coming in town for the first time ever. You can catch the excitement from February 22nd through March 23rd. Coming up here in just a few short days. Tickets on sale now at cactipark.com. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Secure your seat today. Russo Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Colin Rizzo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez helping us out back at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. We are live from the SoFi Center because you got the triple header of the TGL going on tonight on ESPN. You could go catch it there, the second of the three matches throughout the day going on now. We mentioned it. Spring training is basically here, and the MLB season is coming up now. A little bit more news on the MLB front. And it's more about where guys are going to be plugged, where guys are going to be played, and where guys are going to be ranked amongst the most important players or the best players in the league. Mike Trout was upset about being the 39th best player in the MLB, which is probably a joke, barring health. And then another one I was looking at earlier was Rafael Devers, the superstar third baseman for the Boston Red Sox, made it abundantly clear that he has no intention of being a designated hitter, and he has no intention of sliding out of that third base spot with Alex Bregman coming into town on an expensive contract. So now all of a sudden you got a little bit of dilemma going on when you're just trying to get the right players together and you don't realize that some of these guys might not be pleased about it. And Mike Trout, who cannot stay healthy, is probably rightfully a little annoyed, but I understand both sides. Let's start with the Devers thing.
Okay.
Devers had his translator out there, and he says, listen, he has this big contract now. He's been a great player for them. He's carried a lot of bad teams. He goes, third base is my position. Third base is my position. I have no intention of moving. That is my spot. Well, Bregman, of course, is slotting in there. That's going to be a little tricky because you're going to put one or both at the DH spot when you're paying both of them all that money. It's a little. You're going to have to plug and play someone somewhere else on the infield. And now it's a game of who's going to balk first.
Correct. And Alex Bregman's coming off his first Gold Glove.
He's a great club.
And I think that's one of the big reasons the Yankees, the Red Sox
you're not
wanted
buying
to grab
it for
him.
just his bat.
No. And apparently, Colin, there was a reporter asking about, and I apologize if we get his first name wrong, Chaim Bloom. And apparently he was the one who was telling Devers, you're going to be third, you're going to be the third baseman. When asked about Rafael Devers being promised he'd stick at third base when he signed his 11-year, $331 million extension, Alex Cora made it clear that Chaim Bloom isn't here anymore. So it's a giant you-know-what match between the manager, between Bregman, and between Devers. And I loved the point you made of Devers carrying bad teams. He really did. I mean, he was the only thing positive about the Red Sox for a long time, at least in that batting order. And I want to rewind to last year, where Devers, it was about to be the start of the season, spring training was about to be wrapped up, and Devers had comments along the lines of, well, you got me, we didn't get anyone else. How are we supposed to compete? So this is like, in my opinion, this is like a 2-year-long thing that the Red Sox have been going with Rafael Devers. And that's the fact of the matter, the contract that I mentioned, 11 years, $331 million. He's not going anywhere. So you're going to have a conversation with Bregman and Devers, and you're going to have one of them flinch. And the smart move is to have Devers DH. Colin, I'm not saying he's a liability at third. I'm not saying he's a liability at third. The guy could play the position, but Bregman was a Gold Glover last year. So you got to
find another spot for him in the field. He's too much money to put putting on his DH.
But you gotta figure out a way to make this work between these two players. For the first time in a long time, I think Red Sox fan has a lot to be excited for. Let's not screw it up with something as petty as a position, you-know-what match. So I think Devers is an elite third baseman. I think when you think of the third baseman, Colin, as far as hitting the baseball,
you gotta keep him happy.
Yeah, exactly. He's on the level of Jose Ramirez, who I think is the best player at the position. And this is a player that you signed long-term to go for a championship, I'm assuming. You got to make this work.
It is grand saying, well, why didn't you get anybody else? Well, when they finally do, well, wait a second, why is he my position?
Right.
Wait, hold on, I'm not moving anywhere.
2-year thing, I think, in my opinion, with this. So.
I mean, you signed Bregman to this fat contract to give you a boost to try to get to the next level. And you're going to have to find a position for both of them. It is rich that you're complaining about the other end.
Right.
And choose one. Can't be one or the other.
Here's what Devers said, too. No, third base is via translator, no, third base is my position. It's what I play. I don't know what their plans are. We had a conversation. I made it clear on what my desires were. Whatever happens from here, I don't know. And then that's when reporters started asking manager Alex Cora about Shane Bloom and this promise, apparently, that he made with Rafael Devers, and Cora said he's not in the building anymore. This is welcome to spring training. Welcome to 2025 spring training, Colin. We have a position battle with 2 all-star caliber players.
It's ridiculous. And if you really care about where players are ranked going into the season, Mike Trout made it abundantly clear that he will be extra motivated coming into the season after being ranked 39th, 3-9 in player rankings coming into the year. I mean, barring health, Trout, you're still taking him over probably everybody but 15 players and then in tops in Major League Baseball. But the problem is there's an elephant in the room, and it's that you don't play enough in order to warrant that type of elite, I guess, ranking. Now, I see both sides. I see why that can motivate him. Hopefully that keeps him on the field. But you also can see the other side and thinking, well, the best ability is availability. You have to be adjusted, and you have to be in the room with us consistently and healthy, and you haven't been. So that's a major problem.
29 games last year, as we know. The year before that, 82. In 2022, he was able to suit up for 119. But Colin, 2021, 36. 2020 was the COVID year, so we're not going to count that. 3 out of the last 4 years, he didn't play 100 games. 2 out of the last 4 years, he didn't play 50 games. He didn't even sniff 40, for that matter. Trout is an elite player, and then the conversations with Trout are, I can't believe he's never been on a playoff roster, that contract, shame on the Angels, yada, yada, yada. The elephant in the room, to your point, is that he can't stay healthy anymore. When the guy is healthy, he's a top 10 player in the MLB, damn near top 5. He's not stealing. Colin, he's not going to steal bags as much as he did maybe early on in his career. He's still going to be a home run threat, 30 to 35 guy, 100 RBI guy.
You can't rank him like that because he's not there. We haven't seen the guy in 4 years, so you can't rank him there.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to sit here and tell me that this guy's a top 20 player in the league when year in and year out he's never there? He's never there. I don't see him.
Give him some extra motivation to. I know it's hard to give someone motivation to stay healthy. Partner, I don't know how you control that, but give you extra motivation on the season. And I'm not. The Angels are going to be terrible. Would you agree with me on this? I think they'll probably be one of the bottom half teams in the league, but that doesn't mean Mike Trout can't absolutely tear the cover off the ball. I think and if you're the Angels, I'm going to take this side too, Colin. If you're the Angels, if you have a healthy Mike Trout tearing the cover off the ball, why not get rid of him? Why not get rid of him for? I know the contract might not be team friendly, but Ohtani's not there anymore. You're not going to be competing for World Series next year. If you have a motivated Mike Trout playing his best baseball and healthy, I think that would be the best time to sell him. So I think there's 2 conversations here. Number 1, Trout's all mad. I understand that. Number 2, the Angels, if you got a motivated Mike Trout and he's healthy and he's playing good close to the deadline, I think you got to have some serious conversations about trading one of the best players in baseball when healthy.
Well, who's going to go get him?
The Yankees. Remember, Christian made the, 2 months ago? Christian wanted to go get Mike Trout?
You got 3 teams that could go afford him in the trade market. That's the problem. He's too expensive.
Take Dominguez. The Yankees trade Dominguez and
a lot more than Dominguez.
Partner Dominguez and a couple of young guys. You know what I mean? What do you mean? What are we doing here? The Yankees usually have a pretty good farm system. Swindle the Yankees. They just
got a center fielder. Why would they go get rid? Why would they go get Mike Trout?
Swindle the Yankees. You play him at DH. What do you mean? Collars and Stars are playing DH now.
Where are you going to put Stan?
He's never healthy. He's only available.
He's never healthy.
Partner. He's only available.
You want to talk about postseason players?
It's September, right?
Let's talk about Giancarlo Stanton.
He's out 3 to 4 weeks. As far as, hang on, the last I heard, in all reality, Stanton hasn't swung a bat in 3 to 4 weeks. He's not going to be available.
How do you do against your team in the postseason?
No, you had to.
So that's why I can't listen to you. I can't listen to this.
You had to go there.
You're talking about how badly you have no idea what you're talking about in terms of Giancarlo Stanton. That guy is a rake in the postseason. You got to
get there. The Orioles are going to be better. The Red Sox are going to be better. Who knows what Toronto's going to be?
When's the last time the Yankees missed the postseason? Really?
Listen, I'm not going to that card. I'm not saying they're going to miss the postseason, but you still got to have a good regular season, Kyle.
And then you get there, and then you let Giancarlo go. I mean, I see it. I mean, you have to give up the house and then more, but they just put together a pretty good offseason to not get one-dimensional.
Okay, fair enough.
The whole idea was, all right, well, we didn't want to pay Soto because we don't want all our eggs in 2 baskets. So our solution now is to take all of our eggs that we just took time acquiring and go put them into one basket, another guy who can't stay healthy?
Would you rather have Soto or what the Yankees did this offseason?
I think the Yankees are better off now than they were 4 months ago.
Even with Soto on the roster playing?
100%.
Okay.
And I know they were in the World Series last year, but they took advantage of a bad AL. The AL is going to stink once again. But I think in terms of that team got hurt because they were not well-rounded enough.
I thought they did well with the pitching that they got. I really like what they did. But as far as at the plate, we'll see if Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt, and I'm probably missing one in there, Kyle, we'll see if they're going to be able to fill that void that was Soto. And I understand Soto's a generational talent, came into the league when he was 18, 19. You can't really reciprocate that. I think it's going to hurt that lineup a little more. Now, the arguments with that, with a little more than we think, the arguments that we made, at least myself with the Yankees, that bottom half of the lineup needed to get better. Maybe these moves make that happen. Maybe you could get away with Judge being top-heavy up there with a healthy Stanton and a Bellinger, and then the bottom half of the lineup maybe with a Goldschmidt in a Mickey Mouse ballpark like the Yankees.
The thing is, you didn't want to put all your eggs in 2 baskets, and they did that. Why would the Yankees have been better off by re-signing Soto and not being able to acquire any more assets alternatively? And you're banking on just young guys taking the next step when, alternatively, you could go get multiple pieces for half the price. That, to me, is a better bang for your buck and more adequately addresses what the Yankees need.
Until the Mets win a World Series, right?
Yeah, hey, no Yankee fan is too upset with the number that Soto got to and thinking that the Yankees should have matched it.
Yep.
No Yankee fan thinks that. No Yankee fan thinks that we got outpriced and it's a joke that we got outpriced. They're thinking that is a price tag that we had no interest in getting up to. Got to 760. The Yankees wanted to go to 720 or whatever the number was. That, to me, is you're okay with that. You offer plenty of money, and at a certain point, the juice is not worth the squeeze.
Mm-hmm. And then you hope Aaron Judge can play better in the playoffs. You hope Stanton stays hot in the playoffs. The AL's open, too.
It's so bad.
Open. The AL's open.
Is so bad.
That's
so there was every opportunity for them to be right back where they were to start.
Now,
but if you want to compete with the powers of the National League, you have to be more well-rounded.
Now, we all think the Dodgers are going to be there, so I'm going to ask the elephant in the room: Is this team enough to? And then it's baseball, Colin. Anything can happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the Dodgers. I'm not ready to give them any sort of flowers because the NL is stacked. The NL is great.
I'm giving them flowers, man. I don't know how that team doesn't get to the World Series. With how much pitching they could have 2 pitchers go down and won't even affect
they had so much pitching last year, and that wasn't the reason they won, but I understand.
But they could have 2 pitchers go down and won't even affect them, and then they still have the 3 out of the 3 top 7 baseball players at the top of their lineup. It's insanity what they've been able to do. Colin, I honestly hate what they've done. I hate the.
I think you're preaching to the choir.
I cannot believe that it's turned into deferred contract. You should get penalized, Colin. And I know this is beating a dead horse, but you should get penalized for signing Shohei Ohtani. He should be the highest player in baseball. Instead, it's deferred contracts, and they're able to afford everybody. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you want a salary cap, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And it sounds like that's what the next CBA is going to be heading towards, and that will be a work strike like we've never seen before. Get ready for the pitchforks and the signs, because that is going to be a rough one as well.
And shrimp cocktail won't be the only thing discussed this time around, right, Carl?
Well, I mean, with that last time it was the revenue sharing, and now it's going to be about getting a salary cap in place. Going to be a nightmare of a situation. And yeah, of course, they need to get that adjusted. But, I mean, to answer the bottom line here, sorry, you can't rank Trout. You're not a top 20 player anymore. You haven't played like it because you haven't been there. Whether you play and you are that good is a whole other question. But the fact that you are not there completely disqualifies you from the actual conversation. I think maybe 39 might be generous, all things considered. And then on the Yankees sort of thing before we get to timeout here is the Yankees, I think, put together enough of a roster to get right back where they were and to give them a different look. The Dodgers won last year not because of the likes of Shohei Ohtani. They won last year because Freeman's a great postseason player, but they won off the likes of Tommy Edman, Max Muncy, Blake Treinen. They won off of guys like that. They won off the back half. They did not win off the front half because they were well-rounded. That is what the Yankees' approach now has turned to, and I think that is the right move, all things considered, and I think Yankee fans will be better off because of it. We roll on here. We'll do a little 5 at 5. Luke Damien into the conversation next. Stick around for it live from the TGL, the SoFi Center in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Mondays just got better for the men of Palm Beach County. Unlimited Auto Wash is offering $5 off any wash every Monday at all 6 convenient locations. Men's Monday at Unlimited Auto Wash. Don't miss it.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp and it's electric. How is it sharp? How is it electric? Good questions. Try this on for size. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime, forcing, playoffs on the line, golf. With 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour. Split into 6 teams. Atlanta, Boston, Jupiter, LA, New York, and the Bay. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. Tune in every week for TGL matches, only on ESPN. Keep up. It's golf.
Cruise the campus, explore the circuit, experience F1 in Miami like never before. Your general admission ticket to the 2025 Formula One Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix is here. Immerse yourself in the action with unparalleled access to different campus zones. Enjoy thrilling activities, live entertainment, and endless food and beverage options while witnessing the race, all for less than $150 per day. Visit F1MiamiGP.com to secure your spot at the 2025 Formula One Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix, the race that's an experience.
ESPN West Palm is highlighting the best performance of the week, presented by Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Every week, a different team will be featured across ESPN 106.3 and ESPN West Palm Play. The winning performance receives $500, courtesy of Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Do you know a team, player, or school with a killer performance? Nominate them by emailing highschool@espnwestpalm.com. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Go where the pros go.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Hey everyone, it's Kevin Love.
This is Bam Adebayo.
This is Terry Rozier.
This is Jaime Jaquez Jr.
This is Nikola Jovic.
This is Duncan Robinson.
This is Tyler Hero of your Miami Heat, and you're listening to ESPN West Palm.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for Miami Heat basketball.
The all-new 2025 Range Rover Evoque, where bold design meets refined luxury. Ready to elevate your drive? With 3.9% APR for 60 months, it's the perfect time to make your move. For well-qualified buyers, that means payments as low as $1,837 a month per $1,000 financed. Visit your Land Rover Palm Beach off Okeechobee Boulevard, or head over to LandRoverPalmBeach.com and experience the 2025 Range Rover Evoque today.
Soccer in South Florida is all about the passion, the energy, and the pink smoke. Inter Miami Soccer has a new home. Introducing Pink Smoke, your weekly deep dive into all things Inter Miami. Every Wednesday at 6, we're talking messy magic, big goals, wild moments, and the latest from the pitch. So lace up, get loud, and join us for Pink Smoke.
When you see that pink smoke.
Wednesdays at 6, only on ESPN 106.3.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Something amazing is happening at work. Innovative tools are helping people do better work. That's because CDW configuration specialists are multiplying productivity with Microsoft Windows 11 Pro Surface devices. Built-in security, flexibility, and simplified management streamline tasks so your team can get more done. Microsoft and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/surface.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour of Russo and Rizzo here on ESPN 1063. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Damian Perez helping us out at the City Place Studios. We are live from the SoFi Center for TGL, a President's Day triple header over on ESPN. Check it out now in the second of the 3 matches. Another one tomorrow with Tiger on the case. Packed program today. We're going to talk to Jonathan Zaslow of the Zaslow Show 2.0 a little later on at 5:20. And we'll do a little 5 at 5 in just a moment. First, I got to tell you, because if you've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, had an accident of any kind, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine over at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, they're here to fight for you. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. They're the best in the business for a reason. Why settle for just any attorney? Because you could demand Anajar and Levine today. All it takes, one phone call to take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation today. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Damian Perez back at the studios. How are we? What's going on?
Good afternoon. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How was your weekend? Good?
Great.
I'll tell you what, Damian. I'm getting sick of you and Elias Bustamantes from 7:60 a.m. Deportes trolling me about Manchester United.
Oh, man.
I've had just about enough of it, man.
I figure you're used to
You're
it by
sending
now.
me. I mean, but partner, talk about kicking a horse while you're down. For a lot of you that don't know soccer, United used to be one of the best teams. Now we're awful, and we're 15th on the table out of 20 teams. So I know we talked on too much soccer as it is already, but Damian, I am getting tired of you and your trolling.
I'll tell you what, Mike, it builds character.
Yeah, builds character. You're talking to a Browns fan here. You think I got enough character, partner?
Damian, let's do this. Let's do a little 5 at 5.
Let's do it.
Number 1.
NBA All-Star Weekend came and went. Thoughts on the new format for the game and the other competitions?
Uninspiring, because when you and another adjacent sister league, a competing league in some sense, are trying to figure out the same problem, and one side completely solves the problem and then some, and the other kind of just gives you the same problem, different font. That's how I look at the NBA and the NHL's All-Star Weekends. The Four Nations is the way to go. Make it about patriotism, make it about love of country, make it a 2-week tournament round-robin style, and say your offs and goodbyes, create a big financial package with it, and that is how you solve, that is how you would fix your All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, but we'll talk more about that whole Nations League idea here in story number 2. I got one thing to say. My partner, Colin Russo, watches probably more sports than anybody I know. You didn't even watch. The NBA missed out on one of the, I mean, the biggest sports fan I know, and Colin Russo did not watch it.
I haven't watched the All-Star game in like 2 or 3 years.
Let that sink in, okay? No one's watching this. I watched because I thought I had an obligation, as a radio show host. I should have known that, we weren't barely going to touch on that awful product last night.
The thing is,
Colin, I'm pissed I watched. That's my take. I'm pissed I watched that. Because I easily could have watched, something I wanted to. Jujutsu Kaisen, Naruto, something fun. It was like watching paint dry. The only thing I liked was Steph, I guess, winning in San Francisco. As much as I sports hate Steph Curry, I think he's been great for the NBA. And I think there's something to be said that he stuck it out in San Francisco his entire career. Other than that, Colin Russo didn't watch the All-Star game. Let's go to number 2.
Number 2.
NBA stars were asked after the All-Star game about possibly doing the USA versus the world, and stars such as Victor Wembanyama and Giannis are in on it. Is this where the All-Star game is heading?
I hope so.
It has to be.
Hope so. You can't, every year you do not do this, and you do not capitalize on the idea that is there, proof in the pudding. You just make yourself look more stupid, and basically letting dollars sit on the table instead of letting something happen.
The talk of the weekend, the talk from the weekend, rather, was the NHL and what the new format they did. It's not the NBA All-Star Game. I think we rest our case there, right? Figure it out, Adam Silver. Figure it out. And don't let your pride get in the way, and I'm sure you won't. You know, Colin, you said earlier in the show, Silver's, about getting the best product out there. I hope so, because that was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to watch the rematch of of the USA. Can you tell I'm from the USA? Of the USA and Canada coming up here later on. So you got to make the switch. Let's go to number 3, Dave.
Number 3.
According to Bob Nightingale, Mike Trout says he's fired up and motivated about seeing his rank as only the 39th best player in baseball according to the MLB Network's top player list. Can Trout get back to being a top player in the league?
There's no question in my mind that the talent is still in the body, but the problem is I don't trust the body. I do not trust his ability to stay healthy, to consistently be healthy. If Mike Trout plays 150 games this year, I swear that hell is frozen over. It's not going to happen.
I think it's bad for baseball when he's hurt. He's one of the better players in the league, one of the more pulverizing figures in the league. I hope he could stay healthy. I hope we could take him for face value. But you've played under 40 games 2 out of the last 4 years, man. You've played under 40 games 2 out of the last 4 years. I hope you're playing, Mike. I hope that next MLB offseason when the and first off, I don't know why he's so upset about some ridiculous player ranking that MLB.com made. Fair play to him. But I hope next year when they make that list you care so much about that you could be in the top 10. Trout was one of the most exciting players in the league for a very long time. Injuries have derailed him the last 4 or 5 years.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Giancarlo Stanton, Yankee outfielder, has not swung a bat for 3 to 4 weeks and is in doubt of starting the regular season healthy and available. With Soto being gone, is it important for Stanton to play in the regular season for the Yanks this year and contribute?
I mean, it's weird. We just gave Trout all this flack for not staying consistently healthy, and then we give Giancarlo Stanton a bit of a pass because of the situation he's in and his ability to prove time and time again himself in the postseason. So it's a little bit like you live by the sword, you die by the sword there. When he's available, Giancarlo in a big spot is somebody I want in the lineup and is a dangerous force. But at a certain point, this is going to be more of the same from him. It is more important for the Yankees. It is more important for him to be healthy at the end of the year comparatively to in May. They're going to deal with it. They're going to swallow that pill if it means he is healthy and available later in the year, namely in September and October.
Maybe I'm getting too into it, Kyle. If Stanton's injured, who's DHing for that team? Is it a mix?
Yeah, they're going to throw it around.
Because Dominguez will probably play one of the corners.
I can't hypothesize on where the Yankees are going to go. I mean, they have too many guys in the infield. You're going to have Mayhew there. You're going to have they're going to have
the Goldschmidt DH some of the nights. I guess I'm in the minority here. I think Stanton does have to play a little bit in the regular season without Soto being in the lineup, but. And I love the point you brought up about Trout and us having those conversations. This is what happens when you're on a team that consistently makes the playoffs without needing your services.
And he's a good postseason player. Trout has had one playoff series in his life.
That's what I mean. We've never seen him. And all my baseball fans that I talk to, that one of the main things they tell me about Mike Trout is shame on the Angels, shame on the Angels, and shame on the Angels. So I do, to answer the question, I do think Stanton needs to play a little bit in the regular season with Soto out just because you're missing 40, 35, 40, 120 RBIs. But the Yankees will make the playoffs in a bad AL. I'm not ready to hand the division title over to them yet, though, with a lot that's happened in that division.
Number 5, Damian.
Number 5.
We are live at the TGL today and tomorrow with some of the best golfers in the world. What's the best part of your golf game, boys?
So, Colin, I know you've been chipping and handling some of that stuff.
I have 2 wedges in my trunk.
My old man and I went to the driving range, and I'll tell you what, I still got it on the irons, man.
Oh, God, here we go.
I still got that 8-iron, 150, Damian, 150 out.
Here we go.
Set me up, baby.
Mike thinks.
Give me 150 to 160, and I'm going to stick that 8-iron. It's definitely my irons. Kyle, I was spraying the driver. It's what happens when you don't play. I could hit the ball a country mile if I consistently play off the tee, but that's the worst part of my game right now, and I'll take it. I'll take it. The worst part of my game being the driver because it's very fixable.
Mike has played golf once in about 10 months.
I didn't even tell Kyle to that point. I didn't even play. I went to the driving range, but I was still flushing those irons, man. And I think I got the itch. I officially have the itch. My dad's going up to Daytona. By the way, my father Tony is here on vacation all week again. He's going to Daytona to play with my Uncle Lou. My God, I'm jealous, man. I'm very
played
jealous.
Once, 10 months.
Now I got the itch, though.
You played once,
Kyle,
10 months.
I got the itch. But what's going on with you and that?
Yeah,
what's going on with your game?
I have two wedges in my trunk, and
update me.
I'm pretty good at the wedge game. That's what I got. I got a 56 and a 60. I have not bought clubs yet. I will buy clubs eventually. I don't know if people have checked the prices of clubs recently.
Oh, they're crazy.
It's not pretty. So I'm going to have to find a starter kit in some capacity at some point. But when I get around to it.
Damien, are you a golfer? Do you play?
Man, I was hoping you wouldn't ask.
Forget I asked then. Forget I asked. Are you playing? Are you?
I mean, just being in Florida for so long, I just can't even get the swing down. I got to be honest with you.
Now, Damien, do you play? You were a college soccer player. Are you still playing soccer consistently in pickup games and whatnot?
Oh yeah, every opportunity. I see. That's where my coordination lies, with my feet, not so much with my hands.
What was your position?
I was attacking mid and striker.
Little Cam.
Yep.
So are you? Hang on. Are you clinical in front of the net partner?
Absolutely.
Maybe Arsenal.
That's where it counts. That's where it counts.
Arsenal and Chelsea should give you a call.
I'm here for them. I'm
give you a call.
available.
Damien, you got to get out there and start swinging some clubs, my friend.
I really do, and I feel like, Colin, we're all three of us. I mean, you guys are definitely better than me, but we're in that learning stage.
Dude, it's ugly for me.
No, you're definitely better than me. I got to give you that one. But we're in that learning stage, so it'd be a good trio to go out there.
Maybe we go to a par 3 of some sort. We go to a par 3 course. We could all just shank it around
Mike's
for an hour.
Mike's going to be 5 under the way he talks about his golf game.
Dude, why is all I said was the best shot in my bag is 150, and that doesn't mean I'm shooting 5 under, Colin.
Mike has told me time and time again how great he is.
I did not say. I said I have game. That's all I said.
First time swinging a club since 2023.
Oh, God.
And he's hitting the irons right near the cup. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know.
150 in, Kyle.
I don't know about that. And one thing here I want to add too. Did you hear about the just touch on it quickly?
Yeah.
The number 1 ranked tennis player in the world having a doping steroids case.
Yeah, I thought of you.
And only getting 3 months, and he's not missing a major because Australia's in May, and then the French Open, which is the next Grand Slam, is late in May.
So is
it January versus May.
So for you as our household tennis guy, you got to explain this to me. Is it because tennis doesn't want to miss out on their best star and one of their best sellers? Is it them giving them the benefit of the doubt?
The World Anti-Doping Agency, whatever it is, the people that went after him, he had 2 positive tests, and there was always a story that he didn't know, and he didn't know this or that or whatever. So it was, a massage. The trainer had it. That's how I tested positive, whatever it may be. And so that's part of the reason why he tested. It happened twice. And they wanted to suspend him for a year or 2.
Okay.
They wanted him to miss Grand Slams. But that is the number 1 player in the world, the guy who's won 2 straight. He won the U.S. Open and he won the Australian Open.
But how much did it have to do with doping?
Well, the point is, the way I look at it, is how are you going to suspend him for 3 months? He's going to accept it. He can't play in anything. He can't do anything. He has to miss the Miami Open. It's a couple bigger events, but still. He's not missing a slam. If he didn't do anything wrong, they don't suspend him.
Okay.
But if he did do something wrong, then you got to suspend him and make sure he feels it and get a slam.
No,
Isn't that fascinating?
Very much so.
If he either did something wrong or he didn't, and if you're believing him that he didn't know and it was nothing to performance enhance and the whole thing, then don't suspend him to begin with.
So they haven't confirmed him actually doping.
No, he tested positive.
And what did he test positive for?
I couldn't even tell you the drug's name.
Okay.
But it was.
What does it help with?
It was like it's a steroid.
Just makes you stronger.
Yeah, it's a steroid in some sense.
Now, I'm interested to see how he plays without the dope.
Well, he's been fine because he has this was over a year ago.
Oh, he hasn't been on the dope.
He won 2 titles.
Okay, all right. Well, this is kind of a waste of time then, in my opinion, no?
3 months, and he's not missing anything. He's not missing anything of value. Who cares if he misses the Miami Open? It doesn't make a difference.
If you didn't get him at the time, it's a waste of time, right? And I understand these things take time and whatever, and they're trying to make him.
He's the number 1 player in the world too, and you're trying to set a precedent. A fast way to get other players to despise you, to resent you, is because you're getting favorited treatment on a doping case, which is usually like Like the old ways of baseball. Like you dope,
right.
You get that suspension, boom, spam. They throw the book at you. And nowadays, they're sort of making a bit of a lenient approach. They wanted to suspend it for a year or two, and he was able to get them down to 3 months. It's a little tight. Okay. I don't know how I feel about it, but I thought that was fascinating because this is the number 1 player in the world who, whether doping or not, intentionally or not, broke the rules, and he is getting a slap on the wrist.
And he won which majors recently?
He won the U.S. Open and the Australian Open.
Okay.
So this is the number 1 player in the world, but now the other players are going to view that and be like,
totally.
Screw this guy. Why did he get it? Why did he get off?
Let's get our buddy Marcos back on. Marcos Giron.
Yeah, I see how he feels.
We had a great time with Marcos Giron.
Yeah, at the Delray Beach Open last week. He lost in the quarters, but he still had a pretty decent showing. Whatever. We're going to talk to Mr. Jonathan Zaslow on the flip side of things from the Zaslow Show 2.0, a big hockey fan himself. Somebody who's going to give his takeaways and what happened with the Four Nations and some of the All-Star Weekend festivities on both sides. Stick around for it. Should be a lot of fun. It's Russo Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Hey, it's CCAT. You want to know the secret to dropping 17 pounds in 28 days? It's Metrum MD's medical weight loss program in Palm Beach Gardens. The medical team here is amazing. They take the guesswork out of weight loss with cutting-edge meds and personalized plans that work. I lost 17 pounds in less than a month, and I'm losing weight fast enough to stay motivated. The place is busy because the results speak for themselves. Want to experience it for yourself? Visit Metrum MD in Palm Beach Gardens for a free consultation or check out MetrumMD.com. That's M-E-T, the word trim, MD.com. Let's do this thing together.
The new state-of-the-art showroom at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach is now open. And let me tell you, it's amazing. If you're looking for a brand new 2020 to 2025 Kia, there is something for you. Every car has so many awesome features, it will be hard to pick just one. Plus, the safety tech and that unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There's peace of mind in every mile. If you've been putting off car shopping, now's the time. Don't wait any longer. Get down to Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, trade keys, and drive home a new Kia today. So, which one will you choose? See my friend Lonnie Mister at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach and find out why there are more Kias on the road every day. Call 800-NEW-KIAs or Lonnie at 561-433-1511 and check us out online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, where your new Kia is waiting for you.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See kia.com or retailer for details.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine. I'm Ellie Anajar. Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach. Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in. We begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees in the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 20 national championships, including the 2024 Women's Swimming and Diving Championship and 2023 football, lacrosse, and men's swimming and diving titles. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Wow, so we got a little echo here. Let's figure that out up there. But Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, as always, joined now by Mr. Jonathan Zaslow with the Zaslow Show 2.0. Threw me off a little bit with that echo. Zaz, what's going on? How you doing? What's up?
I'm doing great. I'm wondering where you guys, you're like world travelers. Where are you guys today?
We're at the TGL once again for the SoFi Center. They got a triple header today on President's Day. So they have one at 1, one at 4, and one at 7 all day long, getting people in and out of all these different TGL matches. So we're out front there. It's beautiful weather, but you have a lot of influx because people are leaving from the previous match and coming to the new match. It's great. I've seen a couple people I recognize the whole thing.
Yeah, it's Zaz. I get to work and get a free suntan. How great is that?
Yeah, and you know what? Good for you guys, all right? Because sometimes people like to take off President's Day. It is a holiday, but there's, you know, for February, which is usually a slow month for sports, terrible sports month after the Super Bowl, there's a lot to recap from the weekend. So good job out of you guys showing up to work today.
Appreciate it.
Well, Zaz, can we start and address the elephant in the room? How about the look for the NBA comparatively? Because the NBA did what they did, and then just across town, the NHL seemingly cracked the code on how to make something engaging, interesting to the fan, to get the players into it, establish some stakes. The Four Nations has been an unresounding success because all the games outside the U.S., outside with not the U.S. playing, has been great. And then USA Canada, of course, did 5 million on Saturday, the most watched non-Stanley Cup final hockey game since 2019 Blue Jackets Bruins. So off of that, I mean, the NBA's got to be a little annoyed that the team across town is getting all the publicity and the buzz.
Well, here's the way that I described what took place on Saturday night. And I'm a big hockey guy. I love the NHL. I'm a huge Florida Panther fan. So Saturday night, USA Canada, they had me anyway. All right, like I'm dialed into that no matter what. But if you're a big NBA fan, so you're watching NBA All-Star Saturday night, that's great. You certainly see on social media, you're seeing on Twitter how the NHL took over social media on Saturday night because of the craziness with Canada and USA. If you're a sports fan and you see what's going on with the NHL on social media and you're still sticking with All-Star Saturday night where you got a G-Leaguer who's going to win the dunk contest, you got Chris Paul spitting in everybody's face. He knows that everyone is watching to see if the players are going to try, and he decides to cheat. Former president of the Players Association knows everyone is watching, and he cheats right at the get-go. And you see the hullabaloo that's going on with USA and Canada. If you didn't then switch over to see what was going on the ice, you're just not a fan of sports. You're not a fan of big-time competition, all right? Those guys on the ice, it's supposed to be an exhibition. They were treating it like it was life and death. If you're not switching over to the hockey while the nonsense with the NBA is going on, you're just not a fan of sports.
Zaz, I want to thank you because you came on here last week and you told me about the match. To be honest, I probably would have been watching the NBA if you didn't come on here and were waxing poetically about the hockey. I watched start to finish, Zaz. And I don't hate hockey. I enjoy hockey. I went to my first Florida Panther game a couple of weekends back. Zaz, I was locked in, buddy. I was locked in, and Colin tells me that U.S. and Canada are going to play again in the championship. It's must-see TV. It's must-see TV.
We were given a gift earlier today. You know, Canada and Finland played earlier today. Game ended a couple hours ago. Canada won the game in regulation, so they've already clinched a spot back in the championship game Thursday night. It's against the U.S. who plays a game that doesn't mean anything for them tonight against Sweden. That's just going to be for pride for both countries there. But we get a gift where we're going to get to see U.S. and Canada again on Thursday night, and this time on American soil. All right, we played on Saturday in Montreal. You had the fighting. You booed the anthem. Now we get a rematch Thursday night at TD Garden in Boston. Everybody wins. Can I tell you guys, before, I don't know what the ticket prices are now. I want to check. But I checked this morning before we knew who U.S.'s opponent was going to be. I'm sure they've gone up now that we know it's Canada. But before we knew the U.S.'s opponent for Thursday night's championship game in Boston, cheapest ticket, I'm going to ask each of you guys, all right? Colin, cheapest ticket, your guess was what to get into the building Thursday night, USA versus
before Canada was locked in?
Yeah.
Before Canada was locked in, I would say the cheapest ticket to get in the building would be in the realm of $350.
Mike, your guess?
I'd say 80 to 100.
$1,100.
Jeez.
$80, Mike. Jeez.
I thought
selling him short.
I thought they're trying to get bodies into the door, Kyle. I didn't know what, okay? They didn't.
Hockey sells.
Grew up with Zaz, I grew up with basketball in town, not hockey. Forgive me.
$1,100. My guess is
$1,100.
it's gone up several $100s after Canada won.
Now, Zaz, explain to me. Obviously, Kachuk was one of the players fighting. He's a Florida Panther. Was it all because of the anthem, or do they just truly do those guys that
love the country too?
Was it that, or do those guys hate the players there? Because both Kachuk brothers threw the gloves down very early.
Yeah, no, it's about the anthem. This has been happening in the NHL for the last couple of weeks when the American teams would play there, and then so USA plays Finland last Thursday in Montreal. And they booed the United States anthem. And Matthew Tkachuk was asked after the game, what do you think about the booing of the anthem? And his answer was short and sweet. He said, I don't like it, and that's all I'm going to say about it. So clearly he decided he's going to let his fist do the talking. So they fight right away. And then Brady Tkachuk, who's also on the ice, the Tkachuk brothers, they talked about this. So who does Brady then decide to tangle with? One of his NHL foes, and Florida Panthers Sam Bennett. Now, there's animosity there because Senators and Panthers, there is no love lost there. So they go at it. You get a third fight. And I mean, the crowd was unbelievable. So, yes, I do believe it was based on you want to boo the anthem, now somebody's going to pay the piper.
Which is great. And
I love every second of that.
You want to motivate somebody. Love of country and pride and for fighting for the actual flag does a whole lot. And they just showed you that, hey, if you want to fix All-Star Weekend, everybody's kind of wondering, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? What do you fix? Well, there's your answer. There's the blueprint and how you accomplish that. And now you're going to have a big-time game on Thursday. Talk about, you alluded to it, how happy the NHL's got to be because the non-USA games have been very entertaining. And USA has dominated. So now you're going to have a championship setting in the United States on U.S. soil against Canada there. Talk about a perfect storm for what they were looking for and what they got.
Well, and the fact that it was all happening at the same time as the NBA. I mean, guys, has there ever been a time? Has there ever been a time in your sports fandom where something was happening in the NBA and at the same time something was happening in the NHL, and everyone unanimously was saying how incredible what the NHL has going on compared to the NBA? I never heard it.
No, and Zaz, how bad? I'm going to ask you this: how bad of a look is it for the NBA? And this has already been a year where views are down and people are finally starting to openly talk about the problems with basketball. Couldn't have come at a worse time,
awful.
Right?
I mean, listen, you like your analysts on television, to be honest, all right? But Draymond Green spent the entire weekend on television telling you the NBA sucks, all right? And the NBA is boring, and it's an awful product that we're watching right now. And Draymond, though, he declines to tell you the reason that they've gone to this version of the All-Star. It's your fault, Draymond. It's you and your teammates and your colleagues' fault. You guys are the ones who have forced the NBA into trying these cockamamie formats. So I thought he was completely disingenuous the entire weekend. The whole weekend was a major loss for the NBA, I felt.
And LeBron not playing and every star being asked about, hey, do we fix this? Do we change this? They just can't seem to get it on the bullseye.
So does that not encapsulate the whole weekend and the NBA? Does that not encapsulate everything going on with that league right now, where LeBron
really
shows up an hour before the game, and then when a reporter, I mean, would LeBron not even have told them if the reporter didn't say, "What can we expect of you tonight?" They say, "Oh yeah, I'm actually not playing tonight." Like,
yeah,
was he ever going to tell anyone?
Zaz, he came out of that tunnel, that ridiculous tunnel in street clothes, and my dad and I look at each other and we go, "I guess he's not playing." Like that's how you're going to do it. That's the problem I had.
Terrible. It's an incredible lack of caring about the fans and the people who are paying to be there. You think so little of this scenario. You're not even telling anybody that you're not playing. Just showing up like, if it comes up in conversation, I'll let them know I'm out.
And it's crazy because if you look across town and see how hard those hockey players, NHL players usually play pretty hard regardless, but you got McDavid getting laid out. You got Crosby getting yelled. You got some of the best players in that sport, some of the most famous players in that sport getting laid out on the ice for love of country. That gets you patriotic. There's your blueprint. You're not going to do it by incentivizing it with money. You're not going to do it by incentivizing home court in the NBA Finals. You're only going to do it by invigorating a sense of pride, and that is the bottom line. And the NBA can get away with it because there's so much more international presence, and that's your bottom line. Do it, establish it, swallow it, give the NHL their props, and move on from there.
Yeah, it was really a fun weekend, and I'm just so pleased for the NHL that they're getting this attention because the players care. They care about the fans. They obviously care about their countries, and I just love that more eyeballs are being drawn to such a great game with incredible players.
And Zaz, all I hear from my hockey guys is how great the NHL playoffs is. I think this is going to bring more views on the playoffs. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, and look, we've experienced that down here over the last few years because we're actually in the golden age right now of Florida Panther hockey. Like obviously they won the Stanley Cup, but even right before that, like they've never had a stretch where they've made the playoffs 4 consecutive years, which is what we're going on right now. So it's even though the team's been around for over 30 years now, we're just starting to learn that down here. That oh my God, like hockey competitive when you're competitive and when you're a contender, this is an incredible sport. I mean the Amerantz Arena is sold out every single night for every Panther game. So we're just learning that here over these last few years. And hopefully, people around the country see what's going on with the NHL right now too. They realize it's such a great game.
Hockey is the ultimate regional sport. It's very much in tune with the region that that the team is surrounded by, and that's the people who get into it. That's the fans. That's the people who will follow their team. It's not as much of a nation as a whole followship. It's more about you get your team. That's who you really keep an eye on. Well, what happens when you expand that region to the entire United States? Everybody tunes in. Do the same. NBA, do the same. Zaz, other than that, how was your weekend? Did you get into anything the NBA did, or what else did you do?
I went and saw Captain America Brave New World. I love the Marvel. I mean, first of all, we can all agree Matthew Tkachuk is Captain America. That's number one.
Yes.
But I saw Captain America Brave New World. I'm a big fan of the Marvel movies. It was okay.
Yeah.
Zaz, I can't imagine funny seeing it again. It was fine.
Yeah, it was okay. Interesting.
I'm really into the nerdy stuff, Zaz. I'm right there with you. I had buddies see it, and they've told me it's nonetheless the same stuff Marvel's been kind of doing for the last year and a half, 2 years.
You got to see it because it's part of the whole big picture story. You got to see it.
Right.
I didn't hate it, but like I said, I can't imagine watching it again when it comes out. Saw it once, I'm good to go.
Now, Zaz, if I can nerd out with you for one question. DC, I think DC, I don't know how into you are with DC. I think they've done a great job with the new Batman movie. Colin got me to watch that about 2 months ago, partner. I rolled right into Penguin after that. Zaz, I'm really, really excited to see what DC is going to be doing next after watching the new Batman movie with what's-his-face from Harry Potter and
Robert Pattinson from Harry Potter.
Cedric,
Pattinson from Harry Potter.
Cedric Dickory.
That's not part of the new DC universe. That's a standalone thing, the Batman and Penguin. But the Superman movie that's coming out in a few months, looks fantastic. And it's by the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Gunn is a proven
So
commodity.
wait, Zaz, the new Batman with Cedric Diggory and this Superman movie and Penguin, it's not all mixed together. I thought there was mixed.
No.
Oh.
No.
Just
the
when
Batman
I thought they had a good
standalone. There will eventually be a Batman with this Superman. We haven't seen him yet. He hasn't even been cast. But the Superman movie is part of the bigger picture with DC. The Batman is just for you to enjoy on its own.
Before we move on, just to give my 2 cents there, I do think that they're actually going to merge those things and just be done with it instead of going 2 different ways. It's too hard for a mainstream audience to have 2 different people of the same exact character. If I had to put money on it, I would say they're going to merge it in some capacity in some sort of the future. You know what I've heard about it, Zaz? I'm curious if you've watched it. Have you watched Severance at all?
I haven't. Everyone's raving about it.
Oh, my God. Everybody's raving about it.
All my friends, too.
And I watch it, and it feels like a chore. I feel like I'm doing homework.
Like to me, it looks like a chore. I don't know. I don't think I'm into watching it.
I feel like I'm doing homework when I do it. And I haven't gotten the bug with that. And that's the one thing that everybody's talking about. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, geez.
You know what I'm going to start watching, though? My wife and I, it just came out, I think it's Hulu, is that show Paradise with Sterling K. Brown, where he's like a Secret Service with the president. There's some scandal. That movie's called It's called Paradise. I'm into that. We're going to start watching that.
Paradise. I have not heard of that.
I'll have to give it a go. Boys, I'm interested to hear from the both of you. Silo. My friends are the 2 shows right now they can't stop talking about. Severance and Silo, both on Apple TV. So you guys say Severance is a chore. I might stay away. But apparently Silo's really good, too, on Apple TV, according to a couple of my buddies. So keep an eye on that.
All right. I haven't seen that. Like I said, Paradise is the next one. That's next up on my list for me and the wife here.
Interesting. Zaz, really quickly here, tell us what's going on with Anajar.
Well, look, make sure you catch Zaslow Show 2.0 Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. We're Miami-based, we're South Florida-based. Of course, you hear me on ESPN Radio. That's national. But I give you all the local stuff on Zaslow Show 2.0. And every episode is presented by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you're involved in an accident, you're dealing with a personal injury, motorcycle, a car accident, hit and run, slip and fall, you got to call 911 first. You got to make sure you're safe. And then after that, you call Anajar and Levine. They have a specific set of skills. They put to work and get the compensation you deserve. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733.
Zaz, we appreciate it as always. Good chatting. Looking forward to speaking again next week, all right?
Guys, make sure you throw on some sunscreen. You got the sun blazing. This is no joke here in South Florida, all right? Come on.
It's Zaz, it's perfect. Free suntan, baby.
We're getting some color.
All right.
Appreciate it, Zaz. See ya.
Later, Zaz.
That's Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0. Go check it out on all the show formats. We'll close out the program here, talk about what we saw over the weekend on that college basketball slate where 1 and 2 played the Iron Bowl of basically college basketball. We'll do a little bit of that as we close out the program next, live from the SoFi Center at the TGL. It's Russo Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Attention, South Florida! The PGA Tour champions and the Pro Football Hall of Fame are teaming up for a one-of-a-kind event, the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational. From March 31st to April 6th, the action takes over the old course at Broken Sound in Boca Raton, featuring Hall of Fame legends like Warren Sapp, Calvin Johnson, Andre Reed, Rondé Barber, Chris Carter, and more. Tickets are on sale now at JamesHardyInvitational.com. Don't miss your chance to be a part of the home of legends.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Time now to get started on Hard Rock Bet. Go download today in the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. Go to hardrock.bet to get started today. You got the battle for North America, let's call it, on Thursday in the Four Nations final between the USA and Canada. So you're going to be watching stuff like that anyway. You might as well sprinkle a little action on it. Get your patriotism on when that gets on Thursday. So go download the Hard Rock Bet app. Hard Rock's great because even if you're the type that's not inexperienced in putting together a parlay, you're taking use of promos, go check out the Discover page and see what other users have put together and put sequentially into a parlay for you. You can just tag along, just a few short taps. That's how easy it is. If you download Hard Rock Bet today, you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay, prop, the over, whatever you like to bet in a game you choose. Win that first bet to get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Hard Rock Bet offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-8-ADMIT-IT. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3, live from the SoFi Center in downtown Palm Beach Gardens.
Yeah, baby.
Right off exit 78. Great time here. A triple header on President's Day, the second of which going on right now. College basketball over the weekend had a finally good. We had a 1-2 matchup in college basketball. Two teams in Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, college basketball, a 1-2 matchup in the middle of February. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought that those would be our 1 and 2, and that would be a marquee matchup? You think that it's in football, but the SEC has taken some considerable steps on the basketball side of things. And my takeaway is, if I had to put money right now, Auburn's going to be the UConn of last year.
Okay. Just unbeatable. They're
too good.
Yeah.
And they've beaten everybody.
And everyone and their brother, Colin, is telling us how great the SEC is as a conference. They're 11-1 in conference play. And they're beating teams convincingly, too. And in a game for the Crimson Tide, Mark Sears, Colin, I actually know the guy. He went to Ohio University for a little bit and then transferred to Alabama. When he goes 4 of 17, I don't know how they're going to win. I think Sears is the player that needs to step up and has to consistently have good games for Bama. Now, this is me nitpicking the number 2 team in the country. I understand that. But to your point of Auburn being on the level, of Auburn being on the level of UConn, you got to damn near play perfect when you're playing a team like this. And obviously Bama wasn't able to do that. Cruise control. That's my word for Auburn right now. They're on cruise control. They're on cruise control in the
they're
best.
Experienced, they're older, they got a good coach.
In the best basketball conference in recent years, according to a lot. We'll have to see come March, but they're cruising right through it. And I'm not a Bruce Pearl guy. I can't stand him, but he's a great basketball coach. He's a great basketball coach and knows how to get the best out of talent, and you're seeing that on full display with Auburn right now.
And the one team that has beaten them is Florida. So the Florida faithful can get happy, too, because that Florida team is right there in the mix, too, number 2. So that team is another team that's going to be a major threat come March. And the SEC generally just having an outstanding year. And then you have the Duke of the world, which is just keeping the ACC afloat. And then you got the Big Ten. You had Wisconsin have a big win over the weekend over Purdue. And off that sense, you get the Michigans of the world and the Michigan States, and then Wisconsin carrying the load in the Big Ten.
Outside of Sparty, who do you trust to go on a run in the Big Ten?
Michigan. I think Michigan could go on a run.
They played. Did you see that game against the Buckeyes? Good game, dude. Golden dominated the Buckeyes.
Well, because they got two elite bigs.
Yep.
College basketball is about bigs. There's great guards in every team. You go through that round of 64. Every team has a good guard.
Yeah.
Not every team has a great big.
And I'll play devil's advocate. I think guard play is very important come March. But if you have an unstoppable big down low, that is an incredible advantage that you might have over some teams that don't. But like Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, the only one I probably would trust to go deep would be Izzo, just because they've done it. Like, they've gone to Sweet 16s and Elite 8s in the years. And then I know Purdue, maybe I'm being unfair to Purdue, who went to a national championship last year, but they don't have Zach Edey down low anymore. So I tend not to trust the Big Ten as much in basketball. And I think they really need to come together as a league. And the team I'm disappointed in, and you're going to laugh, is Illinois. I thought Illinois would be a lot better this year. They've struggled against teams I think they've been better than.
Well, they've lost a lot, too.
So they lost Shannon. Shannon was...
They lost the best player in the conference. And the best player in the tournament last year was definitely the best player in March. So all of that, I can't say too much when you lose that type of talent. Have you been impressed with Duke at all?
Yeah, it's funny, Colin, because you really opened my eyes on them. I don't know if I trust them in a big spot either, just because they always go to the freshmen and it doesn't seem to work out. I go as far back as when Jabari Parker lost to Mercer in the first round. Like, even Coach Krzyzewski had his problems with these freshmen, and now it's kind of trickling on down a little bit to John Shire. And I understand he got it done with Marvin Bagley and some teams like that, Coach K, all those years back. But I think this is – I don't want to call it make or break for John Shire, because he's one of the best recruiters in the country.
He's not going
exactly, but I kind of want to call it a make it break for him. I really want to call it a make it or break it, because I think this team outside of Auburn is the best team in the country. And I understand the SEC craze and all that. There are great teams in the SEC. I think Duke is clearly the second best team in the country from what I've watched this year. They got some big wins. So they got some bad losses.
They've beaten Auburn, but they're the second best team in the league, but you don't trust them?
You open my eyes to them going to the freshmen late in these games and not having a plan. If John Shire is able to kind of reel it in these close affairs, then yeah, I definitely. But they're going to need Cooper Flagg. If the status quo continues, they're going to need Cooper Flagg to go huge in a big spot, and it's tough to do as a freshman.
I don't trust the lack of experience. That has been the name to the game in college basketball the last couple of years here. And just touch on it quickly, of the teams that I think are very, very dangerous. Now, they haven't played well. I'd take Iowa State over a lot of teams tomorrow.
They're kind of carrying that Big 12, huh?
Kansas has stunk. Kansas. Talk about another team.
The worst year they've had in the league in 20 years.
And then they have a bunch of guys returning. They were the consensus #1 coming in. They were terrible. Oh, my God. They are god-awful. Bill Self, they paid $2 million to get A.J. Storr over from Wisconsin, and the guy doesn't even sniff the floor anymore. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I mean, the SEC are the teams that I've been most impressed with. Florida. Florida reminds me a little bit of like an AAU team. They got the 3 great guards, and they kind of just wait to see who's on amongst those 3. They press full court. They try to force turnovers. They run you down the court. It's good in the regular season. I'm not sure how reliable it is in the postseason. And the Houstons of the world, that's the same thing. There's
Calvin
certain
Sampson.
teams. Houston is like Houston every year. Just to do a quick little rundown. Houston is like Houston every year. Excellent defensively. You're not sure how much you trust them offensively. And you got to score points in the tournament. You got to score points when it matters.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. And they were competitive with Auburn earlier on the year, so that's a team that can compete with anybody. But the lack of consistent scoring would make me a little hesitant.
Now you buying St. John's and Coach Pitino?
I think Pitino is the best coach in the sport.
Big win against Creighton over this weekend.
St. John's is the best is the best coach team in the sport. He's a better coach than Hurley. He's a better coach than all these guys. So to me, I think Pitino has had a little bit of a rough go at it, post Louisville, but there's a reason that St. John's has had this type of immaculate turnaround and that everybody wants to go play for him.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, yeah, a little inconsistent, but generally, that's a team that, to me, defense will travel. That Texas Tech a la a couple years ago, that is a dangerous team. But because Pitino in a big spot, I trust him more than I trust a lot of these coaches. When they played UConn, in UConn's building, and UConn is hit or miss too. But that was a game that UConn was motivated for. Pitino coached circles around Hurley. Circles around Hurley. And then Hurley's over there talking to a student in Omaha, Nebraska, telling him he's got two rings.
Creighton, right?
Yeah. Nice, Dan. Nice, Dan. $8 million of taxpayer money.
Can we go there next? Can I go to UConn next with you? What do you think?
The team is a motivation problem, right? I don't know. That team is a motivation
But
problem.
is it now? I'm going to get on you a little bit because Hurley's getting how much?
$8 million.
And they got a motivation issue?
Yes.
What's going on?
I mean, what are you going to do? Hurley just won 2 titles. What are you going to do? Now we're going to call for his job?
I listen, it's not I'm not sitting here saying fire Dan Hurley, but Mingia Kyle, he's making how much money and there's a motivation issue? What's going on here?
They are not motivated game in and game out. That is the problem with that team. That team in the tournament, they're going to be flirting with a 6 or 7 seed. I promise you that. No team in their side of the bracket is going to want to deal with them. That I could say because at their best, they are very dangerous. 888-760-3776. Then I'm going to get into the program. We'll go to Long Island. Chris in Long Island, welcome to the program. Chris, what's up?
Hey, guys, real quick. You mentioned about the Sinners situation. So just give you a quick background. So it was around this time last year during the Indian Wells tournament in California that he failed the drug test. And to put in perspective, it was a minuscule amount of the steroids in his massage cream. What that does is beyond my pay grade. He got flagged for it. Then he went up against the board. There was a lot of back and forth about it for the next 3 or 4 months of the summer. And then right before the U.S. Open, that's when the story came out. And they said, well, it was an accident. Now, the problem was, up until that time, other players, both on the men's and women's tour, it's like, hey, look, it's your responsibility. You're banned for a year. There was a top, I think, Czechoslovakian player, Halep, on the women's side, who lost like a year's time or something like that. Anyway,
Right.
so half the tour.
So what do you
gave
think about this?
Sinner the
What do you think about this
benefit of the
punishment?
doubt. Well, let me just.
What do you think about the punishment?
Yeah, so then what happened, it was going to end there, but half the tour was up in arms. So then they looked at it again, and they were supposed to come to a decision before the Australian Open. They kicked it back a month, okay? And then per Andy Roddick's podcast this week, he said that Sinner's team negotiated this suspension to start right after the Australian Open. So he cherry-picked his punishment. So what do I think about it? I think I like Yannick Sinner, but this is a bad look. They clearly gave him the benefit of the doubt because he's a top player in the world, and they let him cherry pick the timing of the punishment, and you can't have that. I mean, how going forward if someone else fails, how do you for the first time, how you have any teeth in it?
Yeah,
I have no idea. He's a good guy, but at the end of the day, if the rules are the rules, then he's got to follow it. And one last thing, you guys realize why the Canadians were have been booing the U.S. team during the anthem, right?
It probably has something to do with
has nothing to do
politics.
Yeah, it has to do with the tariffs. So it has nothing to do with the hockey team. Yeah, just I'm not.
Oh yeah, they're booing the anthem because of the tariffs.
Yeah. So there is a reason behind it. I'm not saying one should agree with it, and that's the proper form. But they're not booing it to be just. They're not booing it to go against the hockey players. Is my point. So,
Right. And I don't. Good call, Chris. Appreciate you chiming in there. The one thing I'll say, firstly, is they better get used to the anthem on a Thursday because that to me, whether you think it's you don't boo the national anthem, not in an American league, you don't do that.
No.
That's my take. Whether you disagree with the politics, then boo the inauguration. Don't boo the national anthem at a sporting event. Just my takeaway. And they'll see. Now you motivated a bunch of angry American hockey players, and we're going to see what happens on Thursday. As to the tennis thing, I appreciate the little rundown in terms of timeline, in terms of what happened with Sinner. Now, think about it. If you let the number one player cherry pick his punishment, all of a sudden when the 31st ranked player has a similar situation, how all of a sudden you set a precedent with one player. He could go, wait a second, he gave Sinner choice in terms of when he could get suspended. You didn't suspend him for a slam. Why don't you do it to me?
Right. You're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, or no, because he's not Yannick Sinner.
Because he's great. How is that fair? So that's where you get burned. And now the players on tour are going to resent that because he's getting preferential treatment.
Correct.
Now, granted, that's every sport in the history of mankind, is that the star player will get some sort of preferential treatment.
Colin, if I could compare it to a situation, the Ohtani situation, with the gambling. I know it's a bit different. Doping and gambling is a bit different.
He wasn't suspended, too.
Right.
He was vindicated of all wrongdoing.
Right, but,
Whether you think it's something wrong or not is
I'll leave it at that.
Is another conversation.
Right.
But I mean, my perspective on it is, if you're going to set that type of precedent, now you're giving him a target on his back, and you're also looking a little fraudulent because you're afraid of losing your number one player in a big slam when he's won 2 in a row. It's not fair. How can the 31st player say he could say the same thing? Hey, hold on a second. Like, this was an accident. You have to believe me. But why aren't you believing me when you believe the number one player in the world, whether he did so in the doping and whether it was real and intentional or not? So that's the takeaway here. People are starting to stroll out of here, out of the SoFi Center after the second match on the TGL today. They have a triple header for President's Day. For those people who are not working and off on the holiday Monday, they can get 3 straight TGL matches in a row over on ESPN. So and then they got another one tomorrow. So they took the 2 weeks off surrounding the Super Bowl, and they're coming back here with a wham, and they're coming in with 4 matches, basically in a 2-day stretch, as much as you could possibly get. As we close out the program here on a Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo. That was Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo here. Big thanks to Damian Perez helping us out back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. We'll be back at it, I think, from here again tomorrow from the TGL. I think Tiger's going tomorrow, so that should be a whole lot of fun. We roll on here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Missed any of the program, want to listen back, go to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Or if you want to watch live back, you can live stream at YouTube, at ESPN West Palm, and Facebook and Twitter as well. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo here, sending you off saying so long. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 106.3.